Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of English Without Limit. I'm Julia, and today we are going to talk about simple stories and situations from everyday life. These are short stories you might experience, and we will use clear and easy English. By listening and following along, you can improve your English speaking and understanding. A morning routine. Yesterday morning, I woke up at 7 a.m. The sun was shining through my window, and I felt happy. First, I brushed my teeth and washed my face. Then I made a cup of tea. I like tea in the morning because it wakes me up slowly. While I drink my tea, I looked outside and saw some birds flying. I felt calm and ready for the day. After breakfast, I decided to go for a short walk. The weather was nice and cool. I saw my neighbor, Mr. Brown, walking his dog. He smiled and said, "Good morning, Julia." I said, "Good morning," back. Then I walked to the small park near my house. There were children playing on the swings and some people jogging. I felt happy to see everyone enjoying the morning. When I came back home, I started my work. I checked my emails and made a small to-do list. I always like to write down my tasks because it helps me remember everything. That day, I had 3 tasks. One was to finish a report. The second was to call my friend. And the third was to water my plants. At around 11 a.m., I made a sandwich for lunch. I like sandwiches because they are easy and quick. While I ate, I listened to some music. Music always makes me feel relaxed. After lunch, I watered my plants. I have 4 small plants in my living room, and I like to see them grow every day. It feels like they are my little friends. Later in the afternoon, I met my friend Sarah at a small cafe. We ordered coffee and talked about our week. She told me about her new job, and I told her about my plans for the weekend. It was nice to spend time together and share stories. After 1 hour, I said goodbye and walked home. In the evening, I decided to watch a short movie. I like movies because they help me learn English, too. I tried to listen carefully and repeat some sentences in English. Then, I prepared dinner. I cooked some rice and vegetables. Cooking is one of my favorite daily activities because it is relaxing and fun. Finally, before going to bed, I read a small book for 20 minutes. Reading helps me sleep better. At 10 o'clock, I switched off the lights and went to sleep. It was a simple but nice and productive day. Shopping at the market. Last Saturday, I went to the market. I needed some vegetables and fruits. The market was busy and there were many people. I bought tomatoes, onions, and carrots. I also bought apples and bananas. While I was shopping, I met an old friend, Emma. She said hello and we talked for a few minutes. It was nice to see her. Then I paid for my groceries and went back home. I like to shop early in the morning because the market is fresh and it is not too crowded. Using public transport. Last Monday, I had to go to the city center for an appointment. I woke up a little earlier than usual because I wanted to be on time. I packed my bag with my wallet, phone, and some water. Then I walked to the bus stop. The weather was sunny and a gentle wind made the morning feel fresh. At the bus stop, I waited for about 10 minutes. There were a few people there too. I saw a young man reading a book and an older lady feeding some birds nearby. The bus arrived and everyone got on carefully. I found a seat near the window. I like sitting by the window because I can watch the city passing by. While traveling, I noticed small shops and cafes along the streets. People were walking quickly, maybe going to work or school. I also saw a few kids playing near the park. They were laughing and running, and it made me smile. Traveling by bus is sometimes slow, but I enjoy looking at daily life around me. After about 20 minutes, I reached my stop. I thanked the bus driver and walked to my appointment. Everything went well, and I returned home in the afternoon. On the bus back, I noticed that people were tired from their workday, but some were still chatting and smiling. Small moments like this make me feel connected to the world around me. Cooking a new recipe. Last Wednesday, I decided to try a new recipe for dinner. I wanted to make a vegetable pasta with a light sauce. First, I chopped onions, garlic, and bell peppers. I also cut some fresh tomatoes. While chopping, I listened to some soft music. It makes cooking feel more fun. I boiled some water and cooked the pasta. Then, in a pan, I added olive oil, onions, and garlic. The smell of cooking vegetables filled the kitchen. I added the bell peppers and tomatoes, and finally some spices like salt, pepper, and a little basil. Everything looked colorful and fresh. After cooking for about 15 minutes, the pasta was ready. I mixed it with the vegetables and tasted it. It was delicious. I was proud because it was the first time I cooked this recipe by myself. Eating something you made can feel very satisfying. I also saved some pasta for lunch the next day. Cooking is not just about food. For me, it's a relaxing activity. I enjoy trying new recipes, learning new techniques, and sometimes even watching cooking videos online. Small things like this can make daily life more enjoyable. Now let's talk about a story about going to the park in the evening. Sometimes spending a little time outside can make your day better. Last Friday evening, I decided to go to the park near my home. The sun was starting to set and the sky had beautiful colors, orange, pink, and purple. I took a small blanket and a book. I like sitting under a tree and reading while listening to birds singing. When I arrived at the park, I saw children playing football. Their laughter and excitement made the park feel lively. Some people were walking their dogs, and a few couples were sitting on benches talking quietly. I found a nice spot under a large tree and spread my blanket. While reading, a gentle breeze blew, making the leaves rustle. It felt peaceful and calm. After reading for a while, I decided to take a short walk. I followed the path along the small pond. There were ducks swimming, and some people were feeding them. I smiled and waved at a little boy who was feeding bread to the ducks. After walking, I returned to my blanket and watched the sunset. The colors changed slowly, and it was very relaxing. I stayed in the park until it became a little dark, and then I walked back home. Spending time in the park helps me feel relaxed and happy. Even a short visit to nature can change your mood and energy for the rest of the day. Let's continue with a story about a small adventure with friends. Adventures do not have to be big. Even small trips can be fun. Last Sunday, I went on a short trip with my friend Lisa. We decided to visit a small village near the city. We woke up early, packed some snacks and water, and started our journey by bus. The ride was about 40 minutes, and we talked about many things on the way. When we arrived, the village looked quiet and peaceful. The streets were small, and there were a few shops. We walked slowly, enjoying the scenery. We saw green fields, flowers, and small animals. We also met a farmer who was friendly and talked to us about his daily work. After walking for a while, we found a small cafe. It was cozy with wooden tables and soft music. We ordered tea and a piece of cake. Sitting there, looking outside at the village, we felt calm and happy. We took some photos too to remember the day. Later, we walked back and explored a small river. We saw some children playing near the water, laughing and running. It reminded me of my childhood, and I felt nostalgic. By the afternoon, we were tired but happy. The trip was simple, but it felt like a real adventure. Small experiences like this can make life enjoyable and memorable. Next, I want to tell a story about a day at the library. Libraries are quiet, but they are full of small adventures too. Last Thursday, I visited the local library. I like libraries because they are peaceful and full of knowledge. I went there to find a book about traveling. I walked between the shelves, looking at different titles. I found a few interesting books about cities and countries. I sat at a quiet table and started reading. It was nice to see people around me reading and studying. Some were writing notes and others were using computers. I spent a couple of hours reading and taking notes. Then I borrowed 2 books to read at home. Visiting the library is not only about reading. For me, it's about observing people, feeling calm, and learning something new every day. Libraries are a part of daily life that can give you new ideas and knowledge. Another story is about helping someone in a small, simple way. Small acts of kindness are part of everyday life too. Last Wednesday, I went to the supermarket to buy some groceries. I noticed an older woman struggling to reach a box on a high shelf. I walked over and asked, "Do you need help?" She smiled and said, "Yes, please. Thank you." I took the box and gave it to her. She said, "You are very kind. Thank you so much." I felt happy because helping someone, even in a small way, can make both people feel good. While walking home, I thought about how small actions can make life better. A smile, a greeting, or helping someone can create a positive feeling in your day. These little things are simple, but they are very important in daily life. Now, let's share a story about learning something new. Learning is part of everyday life, and it can be simple too. Last Monday, I decided to learn a new recipe online. I watched a short video about making chocolate cookies. I followed the steps carefully, mixing flour, sugar, and butter. I shaped the dough into small balls and put them in the oven. While waiting, I cleaned my kitchen a little. After 15 minutes, the cookies were ready. They smelled delicious. I tasted one and it was very good. I felt proud because I learned something new in a short time. Learning doesn't have to be big or difficult. Even small things like cooking a new dish or trying a new word in English can make your daily life interesting. Now, let's talk about a story involving shopping online, something most of us do these days. Last weekend, I decided to buy a new backpack. My old one was small and worn out, so I needed a bigger one for work and small trips. I opened my laptop and visited a shopping website. I searched for comfortable backpacks for daily use. There were so many options. I looked at pictures, read the descriptions, and checked the reviews. I wanted a backpack that was both practical and stylish. After about 30 minutes, I chose a black backpack with multiple pockets. It looked strong and spacious. I added it to my cart and completed the payment. I felt excited because I knew it would arrive soon. Later, I received an email confirmation with the delivery date. Online shopping is convenient, but sometimes it takes patience because waiting for the delivery can feel a little long. The next day, I received the backpack. I unpacked it carefully, checked all the pockets, and tried it on. It fit perfectly and felt comfortable on my shoulders. I thought about how technology has changed our daily life. Buying things online saves time and gives us more options than going to stores. But I also like visiting local shops sometimes because I can see and touch things before buying. Both ways have their advantages. Next, I want to share a story about meeting friends for coffee, which is a very common and enjoyable activity. Last Saturday, I met my friend Anna at a cafe downtown. We hadn't seen each other for a few weeks, so it was nice to catch up. I arrived first and ordered a cappuccino. The smell of coffee was wonderful, and the cafe had a cozy atmosphere with soft music and comfortable chairs. Anna arrived a few minutes later. She smiled and hugged me. We sat at a table near the window so we could watch the people walking outside. She ordered a latte, and we started talking about our week. Anna told me about her new project at work, and I shared my small stories about my daily routine. While talking, we noticed a man struggling to open a door with a lot of packages in his hands. We both smiled and helped him open the door. He thanked us kindly. Small moments like this make life feel warmer and more connected. After talking for about an hour, we decided to take a short walk around the area. The streets were lively with small shops, street food vendors, and people enjoying the sunny day. We stopped at a small bookstore, looked at some books, and bought a few small notebooks. Then we walked back to the cafe and had a final coffee before saying goodbye. Meeting friends like this is simple, but it makes life more enjoyable and gives us energy for the week ahead. Now, let's talk about a story involving taking care of pets, which is part of daily life for many people. Last week, my friend Julia visited me with her dog Max. Max is a small, playful dog who loves to run and play. Julia asked me to help her feed Max while she went to the store. I was happy to help because I love animals. First, I prepared Max's food. I poured some dog food into his bowl and gave him fresh water. He wagged his tail happily. Then I played with him in the garden. Max loves chasing a small ball and he runs very fast. We played for about 20 minutes. It was fun and also a little tiring. After that, I took Max for a short walk around the neighborhood. I always enjoy walking dogs because it feels relaxing. People smiled when they saw Max running happily, and some stopped to pet him. Dogs can bring joy and energy to our daily lives. When I returned, I felt happy because taking care of pets is a responsibility, but it is also very rewarding. Pets give love and happiness, and spending time with them is a nice part of daily life. Let's continue with a story about attending a small family gathering, which is common in many people's lives. Last Sunday, I went to my cousin's house. It was a small family gathering. My cousin's aunt and uncle were there, and everyone looked happy to see each other. We talked, laughed, and shared stories about our week. First, we had some snacks and tea. My aunt baked small cakes, and they smelled amazing. We ate and talked about simple things like work, school, and hobbies. Then my uncle suggested we play a small game. We played a guessing game with small prizes. It was fun and everyone laughed a lot. After the game, we went to the garden. The weather was sunny and the flowers were blooming. We took some family photos and enjoyed the warm afternoon. Before leaving, I helped my cousin clean up a little. Even small chores feel good when you do them together with family. Visiting family is a simple pleasure. It does not have to be a big event. Small gatherings like this make relationships stronger and life happier. Spending time with people we love is one of the most important parts of daily life. Now, let's move to a story about using technology in daily life, which is something everyone experiences. Yesterday, I wanted to organize my schedule for the week. I opened my phone and used a calendar app. I added all my appointments, tasks, and reminders. I also set alarms for important events. Using technology makes life easier because I can see everything in one place. After organizing my schedule, I decided to send messages to a few friends to confirm plans for the weekend. I used the messaging app, typed my messages, and added emojis to make them friendly. They replied quickly, and we all agreed on a time to meet. Later, I used the language learning app to practice some English vocabulary. I learned a few new words and phrases and listened to the pronunciation. Technology can help us learn and practice skills in small daily steps. Even spending 15 minutes a day can improve your English over time. Finally, I watched a short video about cooking. I tried to follow along with the recipe and even paused the video to take notes. Technology gives us so many opportunities to learn, connect with others, and make daily life more productive and fun. Next, let's talk about a story about a small challenge at home. Challenges are part of life, even small ones. Last Tuesday, I wanted to fix a small leak in my kitchen sink. I had never done it before, so I felt a little nervous. I watched a short tutorial video online and gathered the tools I needed. I carefully followed each step. First, I turned off the water and removed the old part of the pipe. Then, I installed the new part. It took some time because I had to make sure everything was tight and secure. Finally, I turned the water back on. It worked perfectly. I felt proud because I solved a problem by myself. Small challenges like this are good for daily life. They teach us patience, problem solving, and confidence. Even small achievements can make us feel happy and successful. Another story is about visiting a local market and interacting with people. Last Thursday, I went to the small market near my home. I needed fresh vegetables and some bread. The market was lively with people talking, sellers calling out prices, and children running around. I like visiting local markets because it feels connected to the community. I bought some fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, and oranges. While shopping, I talked to one of the sellers. He asked about my day, and we had a short conversation about the weather. Small talks like this make daily life more enjoyable. After shopping, I walked home slowly, carrying my bag of groceries. I enjoyed the fresh air and the small sounds of the neighborhood. Visiting the market is not only about buying food, it is also about experiencing daily life. Now, let's continue with the story about discovering a new cafe in the city. Last week, I decided to take a small walk in my neighborhood. While walking, I noticed a new cafe that had recently opened. It had a nice sign outside and a few tables on the sidewalk. Curious, I decided to go in. The cafe smelled like fresh coffee and baked bread. There were a few people inside, reading, talking, or working on laptops. I found a small table near the window. I ordered a cappuccino and a piece of chocolate cake. While waiting, I observed the interior. The walls had paintings and the lights were soft and warm. It felt cozy and welcoming. After a few minutes, my coffee and cake arrived. I took a sip of coffee. It was rich and smooth. I took a bite of the cake. It was sweet, soft, and delicious. I felt happy to have discovered a new place. While sitting there, I saw people greeting each other warmly and chatting. Small cafes like this can be very nice for relaxing, meeting friends, or spending time alone. I spent about an hour in the cafe. I wrote a few notes in my journal and enjoyed the calm atmosphere. Before leaving, I thanked the staff and promised to visit again. Finding new places in your city is exciting because it gives you new experiences and small joys in everyday life. Next, I want to share a story about discovering a new hobby. Last month, I decided to try painting. I had never painted before, but I wanted to do something creative. I bought a small set of watercolors, brushes, and paper. At first, I felt a little unsure because I didn't know what to paint or how to start. I started with something simple, a small flower. I tried to mix the colors and carefully paint the petals. At first, it didn't look perfect, but I kept going. I tried painting a small tree, a sunset, and even a few animals. Each time I painted, I learned something new. After a few days, I realized I was enjoying painting more than I thought. It felt relaxing and fun. Sometimes I paint for half an hour and it helps me forget small worries and stress. Learning a new hobby can make daily life more interesting. Even if you are not perfect at first, small progress every day feels rewarding. Now, let's move to a story about a small problem at work and how I solved it. Last Wednesday, I was working on a report for my job. Suddenly, my computer froze and I couldn't save my work. I felt worried because I had spent a lot of time writing the report. I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. I restarted my computer and checked if the file was saved automatically. Luckily, it was. I learned that saving work regularly is very important. I finished the report carefully and double-checked everything before sending it to my boss. Small problems like this happen in daily life, and they can feel stressful at first. But staying calm, thinking clearly, and taking simple steps can help solve them. After this experience, I also decided to make a habit of saving my work every 10 to 15 minutes. Small lessons like this help us improve and make life easier. Now I want to tell a story about visiting the library and finding something unexpected. Last Friday, I went to the local library. I like libraries because they are quiet and full of books. I walked between the shelves looking for a book about gardening. While searching, I noticed a small section with travel magazines. I picked up one and started reading. There were beautiful pictures of mountains, beaches, and cities around the world. I read a few articles about interesting places to visit. I realized that even small trips to new places can make life exciting. Sometimes reading about other places and cultures can inspire you to try something new. After about an hour, I borrowed the gardening book and the travel magazine. On my way home, I felt happy because I had discovered something new. Libraries are not only for reading books, they are places to explore, imagine, and learn. Let's continue with the story about an evening routine that helps me relax. Last night, I decided to spend my evening calmly at home. After finishing my dinner, I cleaned the kitchen and washed the dishes. I like finishing chores early because it helps me relax later. Then I made a cup of herbal tea and sat in my living room. I read a small chapter from a book I'm currently enjoying. After reading, I listened to some soft music. The combination of tea, music, and a cozy atmosphere helped me feel calm. I also wrote a few notes about my day in my journal, like what I learned and what made me happy. Before going to bed, I did some light stretching to relax my body. Then I switched off the lights and prepared to sleep. Having a calm evening routine is important because it helps your body and mind rest. Even simple habits like drinking tea, reading, or writing a journal can make a big difference in daily life. Now let's talk about a story involving helping a neighbor, which is a part of daily life many people experience. Last Saturday, I noticed that my neighbor's car tire was flat. I went outside and offered to help. He was thankful, and together we changed the tire. It was a little hard because it required effort, but we managed. After fixing it, he smiled and said, "Thank you, Julia. You helped me a lot today." Small acts of kindness like this are simple, but they make life better for everyone. It also creates a feeling of community. Even helping someone for a few minutes can make a big difference in their day. After helping, I felt happy too, because it was a positive experience. Next, I want to share a story about cooking for a friend. Last Sunday, my friend Clara came to visit me. I decided to cook lunch for her. I made a simple pasta dish with vegetables and some salad. While cooking, we chatted about small things, our favorite movies, books, and weekend plans. Cooking with someone in mind makes the experience special. When Clara tasted the food, she smiled and said, "This is delicious, Julia." It felt good to see her happy. After lunch, we drank tea and had some dessert. Cooking and sharing food is a way to show care and enjoy small moments together. Now, let's talk about a story about a small adventure while walking in the city. Last Thursday evening, I decided to take a walk through a part of the city I rarely visit. The streets were lively with small shops, lights, and people enjoying the evening. I saw street performers playing music and people stopping to listen. I stopped near a small fountain and watched the water. Children were playing around it, laughing and running. The city felt alive and energetic. I also discovered a small bookstore I had never seen before. I went in and looked at the books. There were interesting novels, guides, and magazines. Walking in new areas, even nearby, can feel like a small adventure. You can discover new shops, meet people, and enjoy the simple beauty of your city. It reminded me that small changes in our routine can make life exciting. Now, let's talk about a story about relaxing weekend morning. Last Saturday morning, I woke up without an alarm. The sun was shining and I felt refreshed. I made a cup of coffee and sat by the window. I watched the street slowly come to life. People walking, children going to school, and birds singing. I decided to spend the morning reading a book and doing small tasks around the house. I folded laundry, cleaned a little, and watered my plants. It was simple, but I felt satisfied. Small, calm mornings like this help us start the weekend in a peaceful and happy way. Now, let's continue with the story about visiting a friend's house for a small celebration. Last Friday evening, my friend Emma invited me to her home for a small birthday gathering. When I arrived, the house was decorated with colorful balloons and a small cake on the table. A few of her friends were already there. Everyone looked happy and excited. Emma welcomed me warmly and said, "I'm so glad you came, Julia." I smiled and replied I wouldn't miss it. We all sat in the living room and started chatting. We talked about our work, hobbies, and little stories from the week. It felt nice to be in a relaxed environment with friends, laughing and sharing. After some time, Emma brought the cake. We sang happy birthday together and she blew out the candles. Everyone clapped and cheered. Then we had some snacks and tea. The food was simple, but everyone enjoyed it. Later, we played a small board game. It was fun because everyone laughed and tried to guess answers quickly. Even though it was a small celebration, it felt joyful and memorable. Spending time with friends, even for a short while, can make your day special. Next, I want to share a story about running a small errand. Yesterday, I needed to buy some stamps for sending letters. I walked to the post office. The streets were busy with cars and people moving quickly. I joined the line at the post office and waited for my turn. While waiting, I noticed a small bulletin board with community notices. Some people were offering local events, classes, or small workshops. It was interesting to see what was happening in the area. When it was my turn, I bought the stamps and asked a few questions about delivery times. The clerk was friendly and explained everything clearly. After finishing my errand, I walked back home. It was a simple task, but completing small errands like this gives a sense of accomplishment. Daily life is often made up of these small, ordinary moments, but they are important. Now let's talk about a story about practicing English in daily life. Last week, I decided to spend some time practicing English. Later, I went to a nearby cafe. I ordered coffee and tried to speak in English with the barista. I said, "Good morning. Can I have a cappuccino, please?" The barista smiled and replied in English, "Of course. Would you like it hot or iced?" I answered, "Hot, please." Small conversations like this are a great way to practice English naturally in daily life. Afterwards, I called my friend on the phone and spoke in English for about 10 minutes. We talked about simple topics like our plans for the weekend, food, and hobbies. Practicing English in real situations helps improve confidence and fluency. Even small conversations every day can make a big difference over time. Let's continue with the story about trying a new outdoor activity. Last Sunday, I decided to try cycling in a park nearby. I hadn't cycled in a long time, so I felt a little nervous. I wore a helmet and started slowly. The park was beautiful with green trees and flowers along the path. Birds were singing and people were jogging or walking dogs. At first, I went slowly, learning to balance properly. After a few minutes, I felt more confident and started cycling faster. The wind on my face felt refreshing, and I enjoyed the movement. I cycled for about 30 minutes, taking small breaks to rest and drink water. During the ride, I saw children playing, couples walking, and an elderly man feeding birds. Observing daily life while doing an activity felt nice and peaceful. Cycling was a fun way to exercise, enjoy nature, and explore the park. Trying new activities, even small ones, can make life more enjoyable. Next, I want to share a story about a small shopping trip to buy groceries. Last Thursday, I went to the supermarket to buy some vegetables and fruits. I made a small list before going so I wouldn't forget anything. The supermarket was busy with families and people shopping for their meals.
I picked tomatoes, onions, carrots, and lettuce. I also bought apples, bananas, and a small bunch of grapes. While shopping, I noticed a little boy choosing chocolates. He looked very excited. The cashier was friendly and asked, "Do you need help?" His mother smiled and said, "No, thank you." Small interactions like this make shopping feel lively and human. After paying for my groceries, I carried them back home. I felt satisfied because I completed my task quickly and efficiently. Small trips like this are part of daily life, and observing the people and environment around you makes these tasks more interesting. Let's continue with the story about learning a small new skill online. Last week, I decided to learn how to make origami, which is the art of folding paper. I watched a few online tutorials and started with simple shapes like a small boat and a paper crane. At first, it was difficult because the folds needed to be precise. I practiced for about 30 minutes. The first attempts were not perfect, but I kept trying. Slowly, my folds became neater and I could make the shapes correctly. I felt proud because I had learned something new in one session. Learning small skills like this, even for a few minutes a day, is a great way to spend time and improve creativity. After making a few origami pieces, I placed them on my desk. They looked colorful and cheerful. Small activities like this can brighten your daily life and give you a sense of achievement. Now, let's share a story about spending time with family on a weekend morning. Last Saturday, I spent the morning with my parents. We decided to cook breakfast together. My mother made eggs and toast. My father brewed coffee and I prepared fresh fruit. While cooking, we talked about small things, our plans for the weekend, favorite meals, and memories from our childhood. After breakfast, we washed the dishes together. Then we played a small board game in the living room. Everyone laughed and it felt fun to spend time together. Even simple mornings like this with family and small activities can create happy memories. Family time is a part of daily life that is simple but very meaningful. Next, I want to tell a story about a small walk in the neighborhood at night. Last Wednesday evening, I decided to take a short walk after finishing my work. The streets were calm and quiet. Streetlights lit the road softly and the air was cool. I walked slowly, enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. I saw a few neighbors chatting and some children playing quietly. I greeted them with a smile. I also noticed a small flower shop still open with light shining through the windows. I decided to go in and look at the flowers. They were colorful and beautiful. I bought a small bunch of flowers to place in my living room. Walking quietly in the evening helps me feel relaxed and reflect on the day. Small walks like this are not only healthy, but also give you a chance to notice small details around you. Life can feel calm and beautiful if we take the time to observe it. Let's continue with the story about a small visit to a nearby cafe to enjoy a cup of tea. Last Monday afternoon, I visited a small cafe near my home. I wanted a quiet place to relax and think. I ordered a cup of green tea and a small pastry. The cafe was cozy with soft music playing and people reading or working quietly. I sat by the window and observed the street outside. People were walking, some carrying bags, others walking dogs. A couple of friends waved at me as they passed by. I felt happy to see familiar faces. While sipping tea, I took out a notebook and wrote down a few notes about my week. Small, quiet moments like this give me energy and help me plan my days better. Visiting cafes can be relaxing and inspiring. Even spending 20 or 30 minutes alone in a cafe can improve your mood and focus. Next, let's share a story about completing a small home project. Last Sunday, I decided to reorganize my bookshelf. My books were messy and not in order, so I wanted to arrange them neatly. I first removed all the books and sorted them by type: novels, travel books, and learning books. Then I placed them on the shelf carefully, leaving space for new books. I also cleaned the shelf with a soft cloth. When I finished, the shelf looked tidy and organized. I felt proud because small projects like this can make your living space feel better and more pleasant. Daily life often includes small projects like cleaning, organizing, or decorating. These tasks may seem simple, but completing them gives a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. Now, let's continue with the story about preparing for a small gathering at home.
Last Thursday evening, I decided to invite a few friends for tea at my home. I cleaned the living room, prepared some snacks, and brewed tea. When my friends arrived, we chatted and laughed while enjoying the food. We talked about simple topics: work, hobbies, weekend plans, and small funny stories. It was a cozy evening with smiles and happy moments. Small gatherings like this are part of everyday life and help strengthen friendships. Even an hour of time together can be meaningful and joyful. Now, let's continue with the story about visiting a local park for a peaceful afternoon. Last Sunday afternoon, I decided to go to the park near my home. The sun was shining and a light breeze made the day feel comfortable. I took a small blanket and a book. I like to sit under a tree, read, and watch the surroundings. When I arrived, I noticed children playing on swings and slides. Their laughter was joyful and made the park feel lively. Some people were jogging, and a few elderly couples were sitting on benches talking quietly. I found a spot under a large tree and spread my blanket. While reading, I watched a small group of ducks swimming in the pond. Some people were feeding them breadcrumbs. A little boy waved at the ducks, and his parents smiled. I felt calm and happy observing the simple activities around me. After reading for about 30 minutes, I decided to take a short walk along the park path. I noticed flowers blooming and butterflies flying around. The fresh air and greenery made me feel relaxed. I also met a neighbor, Mrs. Lee, who was walking her dog. We said hello and talked briefly about the weather and the upcoming weekend. Before leaving the park, I sat again on my blanket, watched the sun slowly move behind the trees, and listened to the sounds of the park. It was peaceful. Spending time in nature, even for a short while, can improve your mood and energy. Simple activities like walking, observing, and reading outdoors are small joys in daily life. Next, let's share a story about a small visit to a bakery. Last Saturday morning, I visited a bakery near my home. I wanted to buy fresh bread and a pastry. The smell of baked bread filled the air as I entered. The bakery was small but cozy, with wooden shelves full of different types of bread and cakes. I looked at the shelves carefully. There were baguettes, rolls, croissants, and sweet pastries. I chose a chocolate croissant and a small loaf of whole wheat bread. The cashier was friendly and smiled as she gave me my purchase. I decided to eat the croissant while sitting on a small bench outside. The pastry was warm and soft, with chocolate melting in my mouth. It felt like a small treat to start the weekend. While eating, I watched people walking by, some carrying shopping bags, others walking dogs, and a few children playing nearby.
Visiting a bakery is not just about buying food. It is also about experiencing small moments, observing people, and enjoying simple pleasures. Now, let's continue with a story about trying a new hobby at home. Last week, I decided to try knitting. I had never done it before, but I wanted to learn a new skill. I bought some yarn and knitting needles online and watched a few tutorial videos. At first, it felt confusing because the movements were new to me. I started with a small scarf. I practiced the basic stitches, and the first few rolls were uneven, but I kept practicing and slowly improved. After an hour, I managed to complete a few rows neatly. I felt proud because I had learned something new in a short time. Knitting became relaxing for me. I could sit in the living room, listen to music, and knit for a few minutes every day. Small hobbies like this give daily life a sense of achievement and enjoyment. Learning new skills, even simple ones, can make life more interesting and fulfilling. Next, let's talk about a story involving a short trip to the library. Last Thursday afternoon, I decided to visit my local library. I wanted to borrow a book about healthy cooking. The library was quiet, and I liked the calm atmosphere. People were reading or working quietly at tables. I walked between the shelves looking for the cooking section. I found a few interesting books and checked their titles and recipes. I also noticed a small notice board with information about upcoming workshops and local events. It was interesting to see what was happening in the community. I chose a book about making easy vegetarian meals. I sat at a quiet table for a few minutes to read a few pages before borrowing it. The book had colorful pictures and clear instructions. I felt inspired to try some recipes at home. Visiting the library is not only about borrowing books, it is also about exploring, learning, and discovering new ideas. Even a short visit can give you knowledge and motivation for daily activities. Next, let's talk about a story involving helping a friend with small tasks. Last Monday, my friend Anna asked me to help her organize her small home office. She had papers, books, and stationery all over the table, and she wanted to make the space neat. I agreed to help her after finishing my morning tasks. We first sorted the papers into different categories: bills, notes, and important documents. Then we arranged the books on the shelves, organized the stationery into small boxes, and cleaned the desk. It took about an hour, but the office looked neat and welcoming. Anna thanked me and said, "Now I can work much better. Thank you, Julia." I felt happy because helping a friend, even with a small task, can make a big difference. Small acts of support and kindness are part of daily life and can improve relationships and make life more enjoyable.
Last Sunday, I went on a short walk with my friend Lisa to explore a nearby forest trail. The weather was sunny and the air was fresh. We packed some water and snacks and started walking slowly. The trail was surrounded by tall trees, flowers, and birds singing. We saw a few squirrels running and small streams of water flowing. We stopped at a small clearing and sat on a rock to enjoy the scenery. It felt peaceful and relaxing. While walking, we talked about simple things like our hobbies, favorite foods, and plans for the next week. We also took some photos to remember the day. After about an hour, we returned to the starting point. Small outdoor activities like this help you relax, enjoy nature, and spend quality time with friends.
Now, let's share a story about preparing a meal at home. Last Wednesday evening, I decided to cook dinner for myself. I wanted something simple but healthy. I made a small salad with tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, and some cheese. Then, I cooked a piece of chicken with light spices and olive oil. While cooking, I listened to music and sang along softly. It made the cooking experience more enjoyable. After about 20 minutes, the meal was ready. I set the table, poured some water, and sat down to eat. Cooking your own meals can feel rewarding. You know exactly what ingredients you used, and it can be healthier than ordering food. Even simple meals can be satisfying if you put care into preparing them. After eating, I washed the dishes and cleaned the kitchen. It felt good to complete the task and enjoy the meal. Next, let's talk about a story about a short shopping trip for daily necessities. Last Friday, I went to a small shop near my home to buy daily necessities like soap, toothpaste, and rice. The shop was busy with people picking up items for their homes. I checked my list carefully and picked the items I needed. While waiting at the counter, I noticed a few neighbors chatting. It felt nice to see familiar faces and exchange greetings. The cashier was friendly and helped me find a few items I couldn't reach. After paying, I walked back home carrying the shopping bag. Completing small shopping tasks is part of daily life, and observing people around you makes it more interesting. Even simple trips can provide small moments of connection and awareness. Let's continue with the story about learning English online. Last weekend, I decided to spend some time improving my English. I watched a short video about useful phrases for daily conversations. I listened carefully and repeated some sentences aloud to practice pronunciation. Then I used an app to learn a few new words. I typed the words and wrote sample sentences to remember them better. After that, I spoke with a friend on a video call. We practiced small conversations like greetings, asking about the day, and talking about hobbies. Practicing English in daily life, both online and in person, helps improve fluency and confidence. Even small steps like listening, repeating, and writing make a difference over time. Consistency is key, and small daily practices accumulate into noticeable improvement. Next, I want to share a story about a relaxing evening routine. Last Tuesday, after finishing work, I decided to spend my evening calmly. I prepared a cup of herbal tea, sat on the sofa, and read a book. The lighting in my living room was soft and the atmosphere was peaceful. After reading for about 30 minutes, I listened to some relaxing music. I also wrote a few notes in my journal about what made me happy that day. Writing helps me reflect and feel grateful for small moments. Before going to bed, I did a few stretches to relax my body. Then I switched off the lights and got ready for sleep. Simple evening routines like this help the mind and body relax, making it easier to rest and wake up refreshed the next day. Now, let's continue with the story about visiting a small neighborhood market. Last Wednesday, I decided to visit the small market near my home. It was late morning and the sun was shining brightly. The market was busy with people buying fruits, vegetables, and other groceries. There were small shops with colorful displays of vegetables and fruits. I loved the smell of fresh produce. It felt lively and fresh. I bought a few tomatoes, cucumbers, and carrots. I also bought some fresh bread from a bakery stall. While shopping, I noticed a little boy trying to reach a basket of apples. His mother helped him and he smiled proudly when he got one. Small moments like this make daily life feel warm and connected. While walking through the market, I noticed a few neighbors and greeted them. They smiled and waved back. After finishing shopping, I walked home slowly enjoying the fresh air. Visiting a local market is more than buying food. It is also about experiencing the community and observing small details in daily life. Next, I want to share a story about a morning routine that brings energy for the day.
Last Tuesday, I woke up early at 6:30 a.m. I stretched for a few minutes to wake up my body. Then I made a small breakfast, toast, eggs, and a cup of tea. Eating breakfast calmly and taking time to enjoy it makes the morning feel peaceful. After breakfast, I decided to go for a short walk around my neighborhood. The streets were quiet and the sun was just rising. Birds were singing and I could hear children getting ready for school. Walking in the morning helps me feel awake and ready for the day ahead. When I returned home, I took a shower and got ready for work. Having a calm morning routine, even if it's simple, helps organize your day and gives energy. Small actions like stretching, walking, and having breakfast mindfully can make a big difference. Now, let's talk about a story about taking public transportation. Last Friday, I needed to go to a small shopping mall across the city. I decided to take the bus. I walked to the bus stop and waited patiently. A few people were already waiting, some reading newspapers, others talking quietly. When the bus arrived, I got on and found a seat near the window. I held the handrail carefully as the bus started moving. While looking outside, I noticed different parts of the city: small shops, schools, parks, and people walking. Taking public transportation gives a small window into the life of the city and its people. During the ride, I listened to a short podcast in English. It helped me learn new words and practice listening while doing a daily task. After about 20 minutes, I arrived at the mall and walked inside. Public transportation can be convenient, and combining it with small learning activities like listening to podcasts makes daily life productive. Next, let's share a story about spending an afternoon with a friend outdoors. Last Sunday afternoon, my friend Mia invited me to join her for a picnic in the park. We packed sandwiches, fruits, and juice. When we arrived, the park was full of people enjoying the sunny day. Children were playing, and people were walking their dogs. We found a quiet spot under a large tree and spread a blanket. We ate sandwiches and fruits while chatting about our week. We laughed a lot while sharing small stories and memories. After eating, we walked along a small trail in the park, observing flowers, birds, and the flowing water in a small pond. Picnics like this are simple, yet they create joyful memories. Spending time outdoors with friends helps us relax, enjoy nature, and strengthen friendships. Even short moments of shared laughter and conversation can make life feel richer. Now, let's continue with a story about trying a new recipe at home. Last Thursday evening, I decided to try making a vegetable stir-fry. I had fresh vegetables in the fridge: carrots, bell peppers, broccoli, and mushrooms. I chopped them carefully and prepared a simple sauce with soy sauce, garlic, and a little honey. While cooking, I listened to soft music. Cooking can feel like a small meditation if you focus on the steps and enjoy the process. After about 20 minutes, the stir-fry was ready. I served it with rice and sat down to eat. The food looked colorful and smelled amazing. I took small bites slowly, enjoying the taste and texture. Trying new recipes at home is a small adventure. It allows us to be creative, experiment with flavors, and enjoy healthy meals. Even if the dish is simple, the satisfaction of cooking it yourself makes it special.
Next, I want to share a story about completing a small home organization project. Last Saturday, I decided to organize my closet. Clothes were scattered and some items were hard to find. I started by taking everything out and sorting items into categories: shirts, pants, jackets, and accessories. Then I folded clothes neatly, hung jackets properly, and arranged shoes in pairs. I also donated a few old items that I no longer needed. After about an hour, my closet looked neat and organized. I felt proud because small home projects like this can make your daily life more comfortable. Organizing your space may seem small, but it creates order, reduces stress, and gives a sense of accomplishment. Simple tasks done carefully improve the quality of daily life and create small moments of satisfaction. Now, let's share a story about helping a neighbor with a small task. Last Monday evening, I noticed my neighbor struggling to carry a heavy box up the stairs. I went outside and offered to help. Together, we carried the box to her apartment. She thanked me warmly and smiled, saying, "I don't know what I would have done without your help." Small acts of kindness like this may seem simple, but they have a big impact. Helping neighbors, friends, or even strangers creates connections and positivity. Even a few minutes of effort can make someone's day better. I felt happy because helping someone gave me a sense of satisfaction and purpose. Next, let's talk about a story about reading and learning something new. Last Wednesday afternoon, I decided to spend some time reading a short article about gardening. I learned about different types of plants, how to care for them, and simple tips for growing herbs at home. After reading, I took notes and planned to try planting a few small herbs in my kitchen. Learning new things in small steps is a part of daily life. It keeps the mind active, improves knowledge, and creates small achievements. Even short reading sessions can make a difference if done consistently.
Now, let's continue with a story about a calm evening walk. Last Thursday evening, I decided to take a walk after finishing work. The streets were quiet and calm. Street lights shone softly and the air was cool and refreshing. I walked slowly, enjoying the calm atmosphere and noticing small details like flowers, trees, and passing neighbors. I stopped briefly at a small park to watch children playing and a few elderly people chatting on benches. Observing daily life quietly can feel peaceful and relaxing. Walking in the evening is a small habit that helps clear your mind, relax your body, and reflect on the day. Next, let's share a story about a small visit to a cafe alone. Last Friday afternoon, I visited a small cafe near my home. I wanted to spend some quiet time reading and relaxing. I ordered a cup of coffee and a small pastry. The cafe was cozy with soft music and warm lights. I sat by the window and watched people passing by on the street. Some were walking quickly, others slowly, and a few were chatting with friends. I enjoyed the calm moment, sipping my coffee and reading a book. Spending time alone in a cafe can be relaxing, inspiring, and a good way to recharge your energy. Now, let's continue with a story about completing small tasks at home. Last Saturday, I decided to clean my small balcony. I swept the floor, wiped the railing, and watered my plants. The fresh air and sunlight made the work enjoyable. After about 30 minutes, the balcony looked neat and inviting. Completing small tasks like this, even if they take a little time, creates a sense of accomplishment. Daily life is often made of small chores, but completing them carefully improves your environment and mood. Small actions add up to a comfortable and organized lifestyle. Next, let's share a story about a short bike ride in the neighborhood. Last Sunday morning, I decided to ride my bicycle for about 30 minutes. The streets were quiet and the sun was rising. Cycling felt refreshing. I could feel the wind on my face, the movement of my legs, and the freedom of being outside. I passed by small parks, shops opening for the day, and neighbors walking their dogs. Short rides like this are not only healthy, but also allow you to observe your surroundings and enjoy small moments. Physical activity combined with observing daily life makes for a balanced, healthy routine. Now, let's continue with a story involving a small visit to a nearby cafe with a friend. Last Saturday morning, my friend Clara invited me to a small cafe she had discovered recently. I agreed because it sounded cozy and peaceful. When I arrived, Clara was already there sitting at a corner table with a cup of coffee. The cafe had soft music playing in the background and warm lighting that made it very inviting. We ordered 2 cappuccinos and a small pastry to share. While waiting, we chatted about our week. Clara told me about a new book she had started reading, and I shared a small story about a short walk I had taken the day before. Talking with friends in a calm place like this feels relaxing and joyful. When our coffee arrived, we sat sipping slowly and enjoying the aroma. The pastry was soft and sweet, and we laughed over small things like a funny incident in the cafe where a child tried to carry a tray of cookies and almost dropped it. Sharing small moments like this, even ordinary ones, makes time spent with friends feel special. After finishing our drinks, we walked around the nearby streets. There were small shops, a bookstore, and a flower shop with colorful flowers outside. We decided to visit the flower shop briefly. Looking at the bright tulips, daisies, and roses, I bought a small bunch of flowers to brighten my living room. Small trips like this create simple joys in everyday life. Before leaving, we promised to meet again next weekend. Spending time with friends in calm, everyday settings strengthens relationships and creates small, happy memories. Even a short visit with small conversations and small activities can make your day feel meaningful. Now, let's talk about a story involving a quiet afternoon at home doing something creative. Last Wednesday, I decided to spend some time painting. I had a small watercolor set that I had bought a few weeks ago, but had not used much. I set up a small table near the window where sunlight was coming in. I decided to paint a simple scene, a small garden with flowers, a tree, and a bench. At first, mixing the colors felt a little tricky. The water made the paper wet and some colors spread more than I expected. But I kept working slowly, enjoying the process. Painting quietly while listening to soft music was very relaxing. After about an hour, I had completed a small, simple painting. I hung it near my desk, and every time I looked at it, I felt happy and calm. Small creative activities like painting, drawing, or even crafting can make daily life more enjoyable. They allow you to focus on something positive and feel proud of creating something with your own hands. Even a few minutes of creativity a day can improve your mood and mindset. Now, let's talk about a story involving a small cooking experiment. Last Thursday evening, I wanted to try making a new dessert. I found a recipe online for a simple chocolate mug cake that could be cooked in the microwave. I gathered the ingredients: flour, sugar, cocoa powder, milk, and a little butter. I mixed everything carefully in a small mug and followed the steps exactly.
After microwaving for a few minutes, the cake was ready. I took a small bite and realized it was soft, sweet, and delicious. It was simple, but I felt proud that I had created something tasty on my own. Cooking experiments like this, even small ones, make daily life interesting. They give a sense of achievement, and you get to enjoy the results immediately. Even trying a small new recipe can feel like a mini adventure at home. After enjoying the cake, I cleaned the kitchen and prepared for the evening calmly. Small tasks like cleaning afterward make the experience complete and satisfying. Next, let's share a story about practicing English while shopping. Last Friday, I went to a nearby grocery store to buy some fresh vegetables and fruits. I decided to practice English by speaking with the cashier and asking a few questions in English. I said, "Good afternoon. Could you help me find fresh spinach?" The cashier smiled and replied, "Yes, it's in the next aisle on your left." I thanked her and continued shopping. I also tried to describe items I was picking to myself in English, like, "This apple looks fresh. I will buy 3." It felt a little unusual at first, but after a few minutes, I got more comfortable speaking to myself in English. While paying at the counter, I tried one more sentence. "Do you have small tomatoes?" The cashier nodded and showed me where to find them. Small practices like this in everyday life can improve fluency and confidence. Even short interactions or small self-practice moments are helpful for learning a new language. Now, let's continue with a story about taking a short walk in the evening. Last Saturday evening, I decided to take a calm walk around my neighborhood. The streets were quiet and the air was cool. Streetlights lit the paths softly, and I could see a few people walking their dogs or returning from work. I walked slowly, noticing small details, the flowers along the road, the soft rustling of leaves, and the small shops that were still open. I stopped for a moment at a small park where children were playing quietly, and a few elderly people were sitting on benches chatting. Walking in the evening helped me relax after a busy day. Observing small, simple things in daily life can bring calmness and mindfulness. Even a short, peaceful walk can help clear your mind, refresh your thoughts, and make you feel grateful for small, everyday experiences. Next, let's share a story about completing a small home project. Last Sunday, I decided to clean and organize my kitchen drawers. They were messy with utensils, small tools, and stationery mixed together. I removed everything, sorted the items into categories, and placed them neatly back in the drawers. While organizing, I also found a few old items I didn't need anymore, so I decided to donate them. After completing the task, the kitchen looked neat and I felt satisfied. Completing small home projects improves your environment and gives a sense of accomplishment. Daily life may seem ordinary, but small, organized steps like this make life easier and more pleasant. Now, let's talk about a story about visiting a local library. Last Monday afternoon, I visited my local library to borrow a book about traveling. The library was quiet and peaceful. People were reading, working quietly, or exploring bookshelves. I walked carefully between the shelves, looking for books about places I wanted to visit. I found a small guidebook with beautiful pictures of mountains and beaches. I sat at a table for a few minutes, reading about interesting places to visit. After checking it out, I left the library feeling inspired to plan a small weekend trip. Libraries are not just for borrowing books. They are places to explore ideas, learn new things, and find inspiration. Even a short visit can make a big difference in your day. Now, let's share a story about spending time with family in a simple way. Last Wednesday evening, I spent time with my parents at home. We decided to watch a short movie together. Before that, we cooked a small dinner, pasta with vegetables, and a light salad. While cooking, we talked about small daily topics like work, hobbies, and weekend plans. After dinner, we sat on the sofa together and watched the movie. It was simple, but I enjoyed every moment. Spending time with family doesn't need to be extravagant. Even ordinary activities like cooking together, talking, or watching a movie can create meaningful memories. Family time, even in small amounts, brings happiness and connection. Now, let's continue with a story about trying a small outdoor activity. Last Thursday morning, I decided to try jogging in a small park near my home. I wore comfortable clothes, took a bottle of water, and started slowly. The park was peaceful, with a few people walking and children playing. At first, jogging felt tiring, but after a few minutes, I found a steady rhythm. The movement felt refreshing, and I enjoyed the fresh air. I noticed birds singing and the soft rustling of leaves. After about 20 minutes, I stopped to stretch and walked slowly to cool down. Physical activities like jogging are small yet effective ways to improve health and mood. They also give time to reflect and enjoy nature. Even short, peaceful exercises in your neighborhood can make your daily life more active and positive. Next, let's share a story about a small weekend adventure to a nearby place. Last Saturday, I decided to visit a small museum that I hadn't been to before. The entrance was quiet, and there were only a few visitors. I started exploring the exhibits, looking at paintings, photographs, and small historical artifacts. I read small descriptions of each exhibit and tried to imagine the history behind them. It felt like traveling back in time and discovering something new. After exploring, I sat in the museum cafe and enjoyed a cup of tea while reflecting on what I had seen. Small weekend trips like this, even to nearby places, create excitement and learning experiences. Exploring something new doesn't always mean traveling far. It can be small adventures close to home. They make daily life interesting and enriching. Now let's continue with a story about a quiet morning routine that brings energy and focus for the day. Last Monday, I woke up at 6:30 a.m. The sun was just rising and the soft light came through my window. I stretched my arms slowly to wake up my body and then made a small cup of tea. I enjoyed it while sitting quietly by the window, listening to the birds singing outside. After finishing my tea, I decided to do a short exercise routine. I did a few stretches, some yoga poses, and a short walk around my home. These small movements make me feel refreshed and ready for the day. Even 10 minutes of exercise in the morning can make a big difference in energy and mood. Next, I took a quick shower and got dressed. I prepared a simple breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, and some fresh fruit. While eating, I planned my task for the day and wrote a small to-do list. A calm and organized morning routine helps the day feel structured and gives a sense of control. Even small, simple actions like this can improve your focus and positivity throughout the day. Next, let's share a story about practicing English in a simple daily context. Last Wednesday, I decided to practice English by speaking to myself while doing small tasks. While preparing lunch, I said the names of vegetables aloud in English: carrots, tomatoes, lettuce, cucumber. Then I described the actions I was doing. I am cutting the carrots. I am washing the tomatoes. Later, I went to a nearby shop and tried speaking in English with the cashier. I said, "Good afternoon. Can I have a small bottle of water, please?" The cashier smiled and replied, "Of course." I felt happy because even a small conversation in English helped me practice speaking naturally. After returning home, I called a friend to speak in English for 10 minutes. We talked about simple topics like our favorite foods, weekend plans, and small funny incidents from the week. Daily practice, even in short periods, builds confidence and fluency in English over time. Small, consistent actions are key to improving language skills. Now, let's continue with the story about a small trip to a nearby park to enjoy nature. Last Saturday morning, I decided to take a walk in the park near my home. The air was fresh and the sun was shining softly. Children were playing on swings, and a few people were jogging or walking their dogs. I took a slow, calm walk along the path, enjoying the greenery and flowers. I found a quiet spot under a tree and sat for a few minutes, watching birds flying and ducks swimming in a small pond. Some people were feeding the ducks, and a little boy laughed joyfully as he threw pieces of bread into the water. Observing small moments in nature like this helps me feel calm and happy. After sitting for a while, I walked further along the park paths, noticing flowers, butterflies, and small benches where people were reading or talking. Spending even a short amount of time outdoors is refreshing and peaceful. Walking, observing nature, and enjoying small moments in the park can make your day feel lighter and more joyful. Next, let's share a story about a small cooking activity at home. Last Thursday evening, I decided to try making a simple pasta dish. I boiled water, added pasta, and prepared a small sauce with tomatoes, garlic, and olive oil. While cooking, I listened to soft music, which made the process enjoyable. After about 20 minutes, the pasta was ready. I added a few fresh herbs and served it on a plate. I sat at the table enjoying the taste and aroma. Cooking even simple meals can feel satisfying because you create something with your own hands. After eating, I cleaned the kitchen and washed the dishes. Completing small tasks like this makes life organized and comfortable. Cooking is not just about eating. It can also be relaxing, creative, and rewarding. Even small cooking projects bring joy and a sense of accomplishment. Now, let's continue with the story about helping a neighbor in a simple way. Last Monday afternoon, I noticed my neighbor struggling to carry a heavy bag of groceries from the shop to her apartment. I offered to help, and together we carried the bag upstairs. She thanked me warmly, saying, "I really appreciate your help." Small acts of kindness may seem simple, but they create positive connections and happiness. Even a few minutes of effort can make a big difference in someone's day. I felt happy because helping her made both of us feel good. Everyday life becomes more meaningful when we offer small acts of support to others. Next, let's share a story about a small weekend adventure to a nearby place. Last Saturday afternoon, I decided to visit a small museum in my city. I had never been there before, so it felt like a mini adventure. The museum was quiet, with only a few visitors exploring the exhibits. I walked slowly through the rooms, looking at paintings, photographs, and historical artifacts. I read the small descriptions of each item and tried to imagine the stories behind them. It felt interesting to learn about different cultures, history, and art in one place. After exploring the museum, I sat in the small cafe inside and had a cup of tea while reflecting on what I had seen. Small weekend trips like this create new experiences and knowledge, even if they are close to home. Exploring nearby places, learning, and observing new things adds excitement and variety to daily life. Simple adventures can be memorable and enjoyable. Now, let's talk about a story about organizing a small space at home. Last Sunday, I decided to clean and organize my study desk. Papers, notebooks, and pens were scattered all over. I started by sorting the papers into different categories: bills, notes, and important documents. I arranged my notebooks neatly and placed pens in small containers. After completing the organization, my desk looked clean, tidy, and inviting. Completing small home projects gives a sense of satisfaction and makes daily life easier. Even small efforts like organizing a drawer, a shelf, or a desk improve the environment and create comfort in your home. Next, let's share a story about a short shopping trip. Last Wednesday, I went to a nearby shop to buy daily necessities like soap, toothpaste, and rice. The shop was busy, but everything was organized and easy to find. I checked my small list carefully and picked the items I needed. While waiting at the counter, I noticed a few neighbors chatting. We smiled and exchanged greetings. The cashier was friendly and helped me find a few items I couldn't reach. After paying, I walked home carrying the shopping bag. Small trips like this are part of everyday life, and noticing people and surroundings makes it more interesting. Even routine tasks can provide small moments of connection. Now, let's continue with a story about learning something new online. Last weekend, I decided to spend some time learning basic photography techniques online. I watched a short video about lighting, composition, and framing. Then I tried taking a few photos at home using my phone. I experimented with angles, light, and simple objects. After a few attempts, I felt proud because some pictures looked better than I expected. Learning small skills like this, even for a short time, keeps life interesting and helps build creativity. Daily life can include small learning moments that bring joy and satisfaction. Consistency is important. Even a few minutes of learning each day adds up over time. Next, let's share a story about a calm evening at home. Last Tuesday evening, I decided to spend my evening quietly. I made a cup of herbal tea, sat on the sofa, and read a book. The lights were soft and the atmosphere was peaceful. After reading for about 30 minutes, I listened to relaxing music while reflecting on my day. I also wrote a few notes in my journal about what made me happy that day and small goals for tomorrow. Journaling is a small but effective way to practice gratitude and organize your thoughts. It helps calm the mind and prepare for sleep. Before going to bed, I did a few stretches to relax my body. Simple evening routines like this help improve sleep quality and create balance in daily life. Small habits, when done consistently, make life more organized, peaceful, and meaningful. Now, let's continue with the story about a small cafe visit alone to enjoy some calm time. Last Friday afternoon, I decided to visit a small cafe near my home. I wanted to spend some quiet time reading and reflecting. The cafe was cozy with warm lights and soft background music. A few people were sitting quietly at tables, some reading books and others working on their laptops. I ordered a cappuccino and a small slice of banana bread. The barista greeted me with a smile and served the order quickly. I chose a seat by the window where I could observe people passing by. I sipped my coffee slowly and noticed the little things around me. The sound of the coffee machine, the aroma of fresh pastries, and the soft chatter of people. I opened my notebook and wrote a few thoughts about my week. I also sketched a small picture of the view outside the window. The time felt peaceful and I enjoyed the calm solitude. Being alone in a cafe can be a small but meaningful break from daily routines. It gives time to reflect, relax, and enjoy simple pleasures like a good drink, a snack, or even people watching. After about an hour, I packed my notebook and left the cafe. Walking back home slowly, I noticed the small shops on the street, colorful flowers and a garden outside a house, and the sound of birds. Small, mindful experiences like this make daily life richer and more enjoyable. Next, let's share a story about a short evening walk in the neighborhood. Last Sunday evening, I decided to take a walk after finishing my small chores at home. The streets were quiet and peaceful. Street lights glowed softly and the air was cool and refreshing. I walked slowly, observing details around me. Small flowers near fences, neatly arranged pots on balconies, and people walking their dogs. I stopped briefly at a small park where children were playing on swings and a few elderly people were sitting on benches chatting quietly. Observing small moments like this helps me feel calm and grounded. Walking in the evening is a simple activity, but has many benefits. It clears the mind, gives fresh air, and allows small reflection on the day's events. After walking for about 20 minutes, I returned home feeling relaxed. Even short walks in familiar places can bring joy and create a sense of routine. Small habits like this, when done consistently, improve both physical and mental well-being. Now, let's continue with a story about completing a small creative project at home. Last Wednesday afternoon, I decided to spend some time creating a small handmade card for a friend's birthday. I took colored paper, markers, and stickers from my craft box. At first, I was unsure how to design it, but I decided to start simply with a small drawing of flowers on the front. While working, I listened to soft music, which helped me concentrate. I wrote a few lines inside the card with a small message wishing happiness and good health. After about an hour, the card was complete. I felt proud because I had created something special with my own hands. Small creative projects like this bring joy, even if the final product is simple. They allow you to express yourself, focus on a positive task, and create something meaningful for others. Even a few minutes of creativity daily can improve your mood and add value to everyday life. Next, let's share a story about practicing English while completing daily tasks. Last Thursday, I decided to practice English while doing household chores. While washing dishes, I said the names of items aloud: plate, cup, fork, spoon. Then I described my actions. I am washing the plates. I am drying the cups. Later, I folded laundry and tried to describe each action in English. I am folding the shirts. I am arranging the socks. Even small exercises like this make learning English practical and connected to daily life. After that, I called a friend for a short conversation in English. We talked about simple topics like meals, hobbies, and plans for the weekend. Practicing daily English consistently, even in small moments, helps build confidence and fluency over time. The key is to integrate learning into your daily routines. Now let's continue with the story about a small outdoor activity with a friend. Last Saturday morning, my friend Sarah invited me to join her for a short walk in a nearby park. We packed a small bottle of water and started walking slowly. The park was calm with sunlight filtering through the trees. Birds were singing and a few people were jogging or walking their dogs. We talked about small topics, our favorite foods, funny incidents from the week, and plans for the weekend. We stopped briefly near a small pond to watch ducks swimming. A little boy fed them breadcrumbs, and his laughter was infectious. After walking for about 40 minutes, we sat on a bench and enjoyed the peaceful environment. Small outdoor activities like this help us relax, enjoy nature, and strengthen friendships. Even short moments of conversation and shared experiences create meaningful memories. Next, let's share a story about a quiet afternoon learning something new online. Last Tuesday afternoon, I decided to spend some time learning about photography. I watched a short video tutorial about framing, lighting, and composition. Then I tried taking a few photos around my home. I experimented with different angles, small objects, and lighting from windows. After a few attempts, some pictures looked surprisingly good. I felt proud because I had learned something new in a short time. Learning new skills, even small ones, brings satisfaction and keeps daily life interesting. Consistency matters. Spending even a few minutes learning something new every day leads to improvement over time. Now let's continue with the story about a small shopping trip for daily needs. Last Friday, I went to a local shop to buy some basic items: rice, vegetables, and a few cleaning supplies. The shop was moderately busy, but I moved slowly, checking my list carefully. I greeted the cashier and a few neighbors I saw inside. Small social interactions like this make routine activities more pleasant. After selecting my items, I went to the counter to pay. While waiting, I noticed a small display of fresh flowers near the checkout. I decided to buy a small bouquet of daisies for my home. Small choices like this bring simple happiness to everyday life. Walking back home, I carried my bag carefully and noticed the street around me: the sunlight, birds in the trees, and children playing in front of their houses. Even a short trip for shopping can become a pleasant experience if you observe your surroundings.
Next, let's share a story about spending a calm evening at home after a busy day. Last Monday evening, I decided to enjoy a peaceful night after a busy day. I made a cup of herbal tea, sat on the sofa, and read a book for about 30 minutes. The lights were soft and the atmosphere felt relaxing. After reading, I listened to soft music while reflecting on my day. I wrote a few notes in my journal about what made me happy, small achievements, and simple goals for the next day. Journaling is a small but effective way to practice gratitude and mindfulness. Before going to bed, I did a few stretches to relax my muscles. This simple evening routine helped me calm down, improve sleep quality, and prepare for the next day. Small habits like this, done consistently, make everyday life organized, peaceful, and meaningful. Now let's continue with the story about a small weekend adventure to a nearby place. Last Sunday, I decided to visit a small art gallery that I had never been to before. It was quiet, with only a few visitors exploring paintings, sculptures, and photographs. I walked slowly, looking carefully at each piece and reading short descriptions. I felt inspired by the creativity and stories behind the artworks. After exploring, I sat in the gallery cafe and enjoyed a cup of tea while reflecting on the experience. Small weekend adventures, even close to home, create excitement and new learning opportunities. They add variety to daily life and make ordinary days feel special. Next, let's share a story about organizing a small space at home. Last Wednesday, I decided to clean and organize my bookshelf. Books were mixed up with notebooks, papers, and small decorations. I removed everything and sorted the items into categories: fiction, nonfiction, notebooks, and miscellaneous items. I arranged the books neatly, placed notebooks in order, and displayed small decorations nicely. After completing the task, my bookshelf looked tidy and inviting. Small organizing projects like this improve the environment and make life more comfortable. Daily life is made up of small moments, simple tasks, and little adventures. From cooking a new recipe, taking a calm walk, or visiting a local gallery to practicing English in everyday situations, these small actions add up to create meaning, joy, and growth. Consistency and mindfulness turn ordinary routines into opportunities for learning, creativity, and connection with yourself, with others, and with the world around you. By noticing the little things, completing small projects, and spending time reflecting or helping others, we can make daily life more peaceful, organized, and fulfilling. Remember, it's not always the big achievements that shape our lives, but the small, intentional moments we create every day. Start with one small habit, one mindful action, or one tiny adventure, and watch how your days become richer and more meaningful.